What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we got a reaction to Jane's Addiction, their album Ritual Delo Habitual, from our friend and patron of the channel, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you and all the patrons who make this thing go. If you guys support us in any way, check out the Patreon link below. The Patreon link on the end screen. Put up videos every single day. It is an enormous commitment of time. We appreciate any support you consider giving us. Jane's Addiction appeared, I think, on a top 10 list that I did, and that's about it. I know a couple of their songs. I know one song off this album that was very famous, and I've always kind of had a hot and cold opinion of them, kind of just, eh. So, but when I researched this album, this very much interests me. It's their second studio album, released on August 21st, 1990 by Warner Brothers, co-produced by Dave Jordan. It was the band's final studio album before their initial breakup in 1991. It's certified 2 times platinum in the U.S., was acclaimed by music critics. NME, which is a publication I respect a lot, has it given a 9 out of 10. Went to 19 in the US, 37 in the UK, 33 in Canada. It's divided into halves. Tracks 1 through 5 are hard rock songs unrelated to each other, but tracks 6 through 9 are in memoriam of singer Perry Farrell's deceased girlfriend, Ziola Blue, who died of a heroin overdose in 1987 at the age of 19, and also to his mother, who committed suicide when Perry was 3 or 4. I found different ages, so I'll just throw them both in there. The packaging was very controversial, and if you can look there, the Spotify that we're going to listen to it on whenever I pop it up, you'll see they went with the non-controversial one, but 2 versions of this packaging were created. One album featured cover artwork by Perry related to the song 3 Days, and including male and female nudity. We'll get to the context of that song in a little while. The other cover has been called the Clean cover and features only black text on a white background, which you're going to see when I pop up the first song. Listed the band name, album name, and the text of the First Amendment. The Clean cover was created so the CD could be distributed in stores which refused to stock items which represented nudity. Tracks all of them are written by the band. That's who they're all attributed to. You got Perry Farrell on lead vocals, on piano on the song, of course, and guitar on 3 Days. Dave Navarro, of course, the great Dave Navarro on guitar. Eric Avery on bass guitar. Stephen Perkins on drums. There's not a ton of research on this. There's not a ton out there on it, but looking forward to diving into it. The music won't be in the video, but it will be at a Vimeo link below, so follow along with me. Thanks again, Robert. And there is that Queen cover you see in that little box down below. We go with Stop, the album opener. It reached #1 on the Billboard Modern Rock chart for 2 weeks. It was written back in 1986. Remember, this was done in 1990. All right, let's get after it. Stop. Stephen Perkins' drumming on here was fantastic, but the star of this was Navarro's guitar work, I thought. Just a propulsive, driving track. Great way to start an album out. I can see why it reached #1 on the modern rock charts, which in a lot of ways was a lot better at this point in time, and definitely still is, than the Billboard Hot 100, but that's a story for another day. I did promise you during the song, if you were watching the whole reaction, that there's a Spanish-speaking girl at the start. I will let you know what she says. She says, "Gentlemen and ladies, we have more influence on your child than you does, but we want them created and nurtured in Los Angeles. Jane's Addiction." So this is kind of a funny way to start your album, like we're coming after your kids, because everybody's so paranoid, right? That, oh, the music's going to take my kid down the wrong road. So save the complaints for a party conversation. The world is loaded. It's lit to pop, and nobody is going to stop. No one, no way gonna stop. Now go. Farm people, book waivers, soul savers, love teachers, lit to pop, and nobody's gonna stop. And then verse 3 and 4 kind of come into almost like the great flood from the Bible. We have a fantastic guitar. So a little breakdown where it's just a spoken word. So kind of had everything on the song. Fantastic way to start an album. Now we go to the second track, No One's Leaving. No One's Leaving, a song subject matter about Perry's sister dating a black man and the parents not approving of it. So they slept in the park. She had to leave home because he was dark. Now they parade around in New York with a baby boy. He's gorgeous. Ain't nobody leaving. Blacks call each other brother and sis. Count me in because I've been missed. I've seen color change by a kiss. Ask my brother and sister. He just goes around. Through that, basically, love has no color. And boy, isn't it nice if our world could actually believe in that. But when this album came out in 1990, they did. And unfortunately, right now in 2022, a lot of racist bigots still do not. But I like the energy on this one. I thought the bass work, the guitar work from Navarro, I think is going to be just a broken record, no pun intended how good it is. But Eric Avery on the bass work really let him shine on this. at the opening of the song and throughout the song, but in the first minute and a half, he was really shining. Next up, we got Ain't No Right. Ain't No Right. A song just about basically contrasting pleasure and pain with this little spoken word at the start that really doesn't have a lot to do with the song. Just Perry saying, look, man, I can do what I want. Don't worry about my sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle. It's not affecting you. It's my choice. I don't ask about you. But yeah, just kind of a funny little lyricism in here about pain and pleasure, which our life is, right? It's filled with a lot of pain, and we're always trying to pursue that pleasure. And supposedly this is Perry singing experts from sex and drugs and rock and roll in that beginning spoken part by Ian Drury and the Blockheads. I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought that, I told you it's going to be a broken record. I thought the instrumentation, in particular Navarro, was fantastic. But, don't sleep on Stephen Perkins on drums. Pretty darn good. Now to the fourth track, Obvious. Obvious. It's almost 6 minutes long. It doesn't seem like it, which is the best compliment you can give to a longer song. I think it's just, Perry's basically saying, oh, you guys are looking down on me. Oh, no, digging something up, always digging something up. Oh, no. Hey, I don't know you. I don't even want to, but you just keep looking down at me. Oh, no, digging something up. People coming after you. Look, you don't know me. You don't like me? Move along, right? You don't have to come and slam me. And boy, we could use this message in today's social media world. But do you get it? Make it so blank you never get it. You got to owe me something before you know what is joke and what is up. I work my fingers to the bone, and I won't let you stop. And I won't let you stop me going up. Why do you have to make it so obvious? So I won't let you keep me down. Look, I've worked really hard to get where I am. So you might like how I look or how I talk or how I act, or you might not. But learn to live with it or move along. So I like that. Well, now we come up to the song As It Was So Much Back in the Day. There's a video to this song that's very well acclaimed, and I'll get into all of that. But Been Caught Stealing. And this is the reason why for many years I didn't really care for Jane's Addiction, right? I got sick of seeing this on MTV. I didn't really care for the song, but I never heard the song outside of the video. And you think, well, you've heard the song. But there is a difference, right? If you've already formed an opinion, you don't like the video, and you just get sick of seeing it, hearing the song in its own context and reading the lyrics can change your mind on things. I've learned that. So we'll see what I think here. But as it was, I used to just judge people by one or two songs. For example, the great David Bowie. In 1983, I was 12 years old, so I knew Let's Dance and that album. And I was like, yeah, Bowie's okay. I don't really care for him. Little did I know all the gold I missed in the 70s until we got to this channel, and now he's one of my favorites. So be careful about judging, but we all do it. But so Been Caught Stealing. It was their biggest hit, spending 4 weeks at number 1 in the U.S. Modern Rock Chart, 34 in the UK. Among its highlights are what Rolling Stone dubbed, quote, the best use of dog bark since Pet Sounds. Perry Farrell said, that was Annie. I'd got her from a dog shelter, and she was quite needy, so I brought her down to the studio that day rather than leave her at home. I'm sitting in the booth with the headphones on, and Annie gets all excited and starts going rough, rough, rough. The fact that she ended up on the track was just pure coincidence. That's usually how it works when something turns out so well. The song's accompanying music video humorously depicted people, including the band members, shoplifting at a grocery store. Directed by Farrell's girlfriend, Casey Nicoli, it was voted number 47 on VH1's 100 Greatest Videos and also won Best Alternative Video at the 1991 MTV Video Music Awards, which back in the day, the MTV Video Music Awards, they were not the Grammys, but they were really, really well thought of. It's featured in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. So that's impressive. Been Caught Stealing. Not nearly as bad as Sean's mind had remembered. Still not a huge fan of it. It's probably just the trauma I had from seeing the video 8,000 times. But interesting subject matter with shoplifting, right? I just take what I want and make it mine. A little rebelliousness in there that always resonated with the kiddies. Very good instrumental stuff. I think Perry sings it very well and with some charisma, which is the part that does really make the song work. I think the guitar work again by Navarro is so well done. But Perry's stealing, his girlfriend's stealing, and they just kind of laugh about it. So not nearly as bad as I thought. It's not. I'm not going to give you a sneak preview. It's not going to end up on my faves, but it's helped redeem it a bit in my mind. And now we'll go to the back half of the album, the one that has to do with loss, right, of his mother and his girlfriend, or sort of girlfriend. We're going to get into that. We got the song 3 Days, which it's a 3-part song. It's 10 minutes, 46 seconds long. It meditates on death and rebirth. The guitar solo by Navarro was ranked as number 100 in the Guitar World's 100 Best Guitar Solos. It's written in 1986 about Viola Blue's visit to Los Angeles, where she came to attend her father's funeral and stayed with Perry and his girlfriend, who, remember, produced the last video for Been Caught Stealing, Casey Nicole. The trio spent 3 days together experimenting with drugs and sex, which is the basic premise of the song. Contrary to what some may believe, it's not about Zyola's death, as it was written prior to that tragic event. However, it was the last time Perry would see her, as she died of a heroin overdose in 1987. All right, man, 3-part song, almost 11 minutes long, should be epic. 3 days, an epic song. Instrumentally, everybody's firing all cylinders. Remember, Perry's also playing guitar in here, but Navarro's guitar. Eric Avery on the bass gets a run. Stephen Perkins throughout just kind of drives this thing. There's not a lot of lyrics. You can see why people thought it was about Zyola's death, because it was written before her death but recorded after, so there's a spoken part of poem in here at the start before we get into the song itself. Now, this other thing I just read said that Zyola and Perry were boyfriend-girlfriend when Perry was around 20 and she was around 14, but because of the age difference, he broke up with her. And that's how they got together this 5 years later. I don't know if that's a fact or not. I'm not reporting that as fact. That's just lending some context to maybe what their relationship was. And then Perry just basically talked about them all hooking up, right? And he says that he basically said that he thinks that adults should push themselves to the limit of partying once or twice in their life. He goes, anybody that didn't understand the songs never pushed himself to that limit. I don't know that I would exactly, I don't know that I would endorse that. Some very bad things can happen, but that's kind of what this is about. And he even gets in a little bit of the, that maybe Jesus was married to some of the Marys that followed him around, because there's a whole religious cult that kind of follows the Marys. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into it, but none of that's true if you believe in the Bible. And I'm a Christian. I don't believe in that, but he just, he kind of waxes on that. But it's mainly an instrumental vehicle, right, for them just to flex their muscles, and they do that very, very well. Come to another very long song, over 8 minutes long, Then She Did. Originally titled Then She Died. It's Perry's bittersweet ode to two people, right? His ex-girlfriend Zyla and his mother, who had committed suicide, as I said, when he was 3 or 4. Dave Navarro said this: it's probably one of the reasons we were brought together. Dave's own mother was murdered when he was a teenager, man. A lot of tragedy surrounding this band. He said, I have memories of us being on stage together, and before we played Then She Did, Perry would grab me and say, let's do this for our moms. I still get chills when I think about it. When you have something like that happen, noted Perry, the better thing to do is try to make some flowers grow out of it. Wow, this ought to be powerful. Then She Did. It's got some great strings on here from John Philip Chenal, and Jeff Stradling is playing the piano. We also played it on Obvious and did a fantastic job on that one too. But a very rich musical soundscape, kind of fits the subject matter. I won't even say the first part of the song, the first 7 minutes of the song, along with the instrumental run, is about Zyola's death. And then just the very last part is about Perry's mom. I mean, he just tells her, so he's telling Zyla, we say hello to my mom, will you pay a visit to her? She was an artist just as you were. I'd have introduced you to her. She would take me out on Sundays. We'd go laughing through the garbage. She repaired legs like a doctor on the kitchen chairs we sat on. She was unhappy just as you were. And it ends out that way. But yeah, the arrangement of this was fantastic. Perry sounds great, obviously singing about something that's highly emotional to him. So really good track. We're going to come to our third long one in a row, because the subject matter of these is so serious it takes a while to get it done. Of course. Now, an interesting thing on this is Eric Avery refused to play the bass on it out of resentment for being told what to play and how to play on other songs. So they brought in Ronnie Champagne on the bass on this one. Just, man, bands can't always get along. It's a lot of time spent together. Of course, the first song on here for me that's a miss, it's not necessarily a bad song. It just seems really self-indulgent. It's just way too long for me. The arrangement was good. You had Charlie Bisharart playing the violin, and I didn't talk about the previous song, Then She Did. He was the one playing the electric violin. The violin is prominent throughout here. So I thought that was a nice touch. And like I said, it wasn't necessarily a bad song, but it definitely didn't need to be 7 minutes long. It's basically a commentary on kill or be killed. In other words, look out for yourself in this world, or other people are going to destroy you, but maybe that's not the best thing, as he talks about the different things. Not a lot of lyrics in here. The slapping yourself in the face, he talks about how his brother, who he still admires, slapped him in his face. I forgot that was the thing, right? Why you slapping yourself? I forgot about that, man. But that was a thing. So, not a horrible song or anything, just too long for me. Now we're going to finish this thing off with Classic Girl. Classic Girl, what a fantastic closer, man. I loved everything about that. I love Perry's vocal performance. I love the instrumentation. The guitar work by Dave on there was so nice. It was understated, but so good. He just sets the table. The Classic Girl, right? He starts off and there's violence in the neighborhood. He lets you know that. You just kind of ignore it. Dinosaurs on the Quildar War with a girl, such a classic girl. So they're together, right? They're sharing a blanket. Such a classic girl. Gives her man great ideas. Here's you tell your friends, hey man, listen to my great idea. He's taking credit for it. So she's doing all this for him. She's this classic girl, this good girl. And then he says, it's true, I'm a villain. When you fall ill, that's probably because men never can be not like a girl, a classic girl. They may say those were the days, but in a way, for us, these are the days. Yes, for us, these are the days. And you're my girl, such a classic girl. I mean, that song was great, man. I loved that song. So that's going to segue me into my favorite tracks. Honorable mentions, obvious. 3 Days, Then She Did. My faves, the way you're supposed to do albums, right, is the opener stop. And my favorite was probably Classic Girl. This last song, there's only 9 songs on here, so 5 of them end up as honorable mention or faves, which is going to bring me to my overall album score. As I shared in the beginning, not a big Jane's Addiction guy, even though I didn't really know hardly any music from him. It's just kind of how you do it, right? Really glad that Robert brought this one to me. Did enjoy this a lot. Perry can be hit or miss for people. It's kind of hit or miss for me, but not on this album. I really did enjoy it. I even didn't hate Ben Cott Stealing. So there's a big bit of progress. Only one song was a miss for me. I would have bet you a large sum of money, at least for me, that when I got this request, I was never going to rate this album this high. But this is why, boys and girls, you can't shut stuff down or not listen to stuff because you never know. So I'm going to be at an 8.0 on this album, man. Are you as surprised as I am after you heard what I said about him at the start? Great choice by Robert. Let me know what you think of this album. What you think of Jane's Addiction in general. Anything else you think I should check out. Until next time, guys, I will see you.